for planting the vegetables, I'm getting hungry and I want to eat some vegetables like carrots.
Does this make you want to eat vegetables?
Yes, sirree.
Now that right there is another benefit of having your kids involved in growing their own food. They get excited about eating vegetables because they have a sense of ownership about it. Welcome to our garden. We haven't made a garden video in actually a couple years because last year we didn't plant one. But given that we are now in the midst of a pandemic, growing your own food is a good thing to be doing right now. So if you have a little bit of a yard, it doesn't even have to be a big yard, even just a tiny yard. If you have a window, you can plant things in pots, even in an apartment. There are lots of ways to do this. I've seen people hang gutters vertically on fences and put soil in the gutters and plant things vertically on the fences. There are all sorts of creative ways to grow your own food even when you have little space. So today, these are the garden beds that we have always had. If you've been watching for a while, you've seen these before. And we are planting our veggies today. So what have we got?
First thing is carrots. You can see the rows for the carrots. The depth of as a general rule, the depth of planting is proportional to the size of the seed. Carrot seeds are very, very, very small. So you don't make their bed very deep at all, which means they need very consistent watering initially in order to get started.
So you don't put them very deep in the soil?
Nope. You can see the spacing for the carrot rows here. What we will do is directly between each row of carrots, we're going to plant a row of radishes. By the time the carrots get big enough to need all this space, the radishes will already be harvested.
So can I have one seed?
Here, hold out your hand. You can have several seeds. Now, what we're going to do with these seeds, Sophie, see how we don't sprinkle them too many in one place? We kind of spread them out, just a few at a time in these rows.
Oh. Where can I?
Why don't you start on the second row? Row here.
You're just kind of sprinkling them in.
Yep.
So you just, with your fingers, made a very shallow line in the dirt.
Yeah, it's just taking one finger and dragging it through the dirt, basically. Teo might start heading.
I think, yeah, once he gets a little, right now, look at Teo now.
Yeah, me too.
And Alex just isn't that interested.
Alex has got his head in the clouds.
Yeah.
Okay, that's those.
There are the radish seeds.
They're very teeny tiny.
Yeah, a little bigger than the carrot seeds though.
A little bigger than the carrot seeds. So what I'm doing is poking my finger in
Let's
to make
do more.
holes.
Now
About a finger depth.
now.
And we're gonna put one or two seeds in each hole, Sophie. You do that.
For people who are just doing in pots, you can just get potting soil. You can also compost, which we should probably make a video just in and of itself on how to compost. We do.
Is going to the local dirt and gravel place and getting a truckload of topsoil.
Yeah, well, when we're doing a bigger garden, that's an option.
And I backed the truck up to this and dumped it in.
Yeah, and thankfully it's a no contact thing they're doing as well.
They just loaded in.
Yeah, they use a loader, so it's like not even human hands touching your truck. So it's a good way to do it during quarantine right now, if you can. If you can't, you can just get bags of potting soil. I think they even sell those at the grocery store. So if you're going to get your essential groceries, you can get bags of potting soil at the grocery store. Any place that has a garden center or nurseries. Well, at least in Washington, they are open. Just practice very careful social distancing when you go. Wear a mask and wash your hands before and after. You can sanitize the bags before putting them in your car as well. And it is a pretty safe way to do it.
Yes, some states have decided that garden centers are non-essential. And while I can understand the rationale for purely decorative stuff, if you're growing your own food,
you're
the number of trips you end up making to the the store later in the summer. The pandemic will still be going on then.
Yeah, and it's reducing the strain on the food supply too.
Yeah, so the idea that that's a non-essential thing.
Yeah, I'd say that it's even less risky than going to the grocery store from our experience too, just because anyone and everyone is going to the grocery store, and there's a lot fewer people in general going to the garden stores. But just be smart about it, and overall you will have to make fewer trips to the store in general because you're just going out to your yard once it's planted, once you have your supplies. So I would absolutely argue that supplies for planting your own garden is essential, and
it's as essential as a lot of the other things that are still open.
I read an article.
More essential than dyed hair.
Yes. I was reading an article the other day that is saying we're now in the hair dyeing phase of the pandemic. Everybody is going to get their hair dye. Not that coloring your hair is inherently bad, but when we are in the midst of a national crisis, this is probably a more productive thing that you can be doing with your time. It's good for you, good for your family, good for your mental health. The kids can help, they can learn. This is a good life skill in general too, okay, not just a quarantine skill.
Do a row of onions right here in the front, which is a good place because the onions don't get so big that they block anything else.
Anything else?
Now, if you don't like to use your hand as a trowel, you can always use a trowel. Out of the way.
These, did you get these at the garden store too, the onion starts?
These are onion starts. Pick out the biggest, healthiest ones because we're probably not going to use all of them.
What about these over here?
Those are radishes.
So you put those a lot deeper because they're already starts.
Yep, they already have a green top that is sticking up. So
I want to eat those onions once they're ready.
Yeah?
Once they grow into a big onion. Yeah. The thing
So,
about onions is they don't mind getting dried out now and then. So
yeah.
They're good for borders.
They
what
do
about those?
better in arid climates too.
From the onion, Dad.
Yeah, that's just onion skins. We'll get rid of those in a minute.
Okay.
And looks like you're putting them about, what, 6 inches apart or so?
4 inches.
4 inches. Which would be how many centimeters for our non-American friends?
It would be learn multiple unit systems just like we have to learn multiple languages. Number of centimeters. 2.5 centimeters per inch is the easy way to remember that. So,
okay.
Those other seeds, those seeds were very small, like
so 4
our
inches
flower
is 10 centimeters.
seeds.
I'm just burying all the...
So that's pretty easy. You just slide your hand across and it buries them all.
Yep.
So there we go.
We're going to water everything in, and the last thing we're going to do is plant a row of potatoes here.
Oh,
Why potatoes?
Because they are the farthest back in this bed, and therefore they can get a little bigger.
Okay.
And I like potatoes.
We have Yukon Golds.
If you get the big ones, you have to cut them apart so that there's like 1 or 2 individual eyes on each one.
Here, can I see up close?
I just pick out the small ones so I don't have to do that, because if you cut them, then you need to let the edges that you cut cure before you plant them.
Dry, so just get small ones.
So get small ones.
I want to have
When
one.
you grow them yourself, you can get small ones too.
Yeah, you just
So-
reuse your own every year.
What I do is take the eye that looks the most developed and put it on top, because that's going to become the big part of the plant.
But where
And
can I
So
do?
how far down
For
do you
potatoes,
put potato?
you can put them as far as you like.
Yeah.
And I like to put them a little farther because that means they'll grow more potatoes underground.
And we discovered this year at Easter, you were digging out all the weeds in this garden bed and found from 2 years ago purple potatoes. And they had been there for 2 years and they were good to eat. We ate them for Easter.
They hadn't been there for 2 years, they had been there for 2 generations.
2 generations, yes.
Okay.
But it was genetic
What do
clones
I
of the
have
ones
to
I
do,
planted a
Dad?
while ago. Drop that one in the hole. Boop. There we go.
This is excellent activity to do with your kids in quarantine.
Helps them understand where your food
Where
comes from.
their food
How it's
comes
grown.
from. That is so
Dad,
important. And now
What
is
other kind of
what a
potatoes
better
are you
time
planting?
than for kids
We'll
to learn
plant some
that.
other ones in the other beds.
I want a big potato.
And even Alex, who is uninterested in physically helping with the gardening, watches a lot. So even when he's not physically helping, he understands where his food comes from. And even just if kids are watching and gaining that understanding, that is a huge win.
Cucumbers.
Oh, cucumbers. So I guess we've got little alternating holes here.
I'm trying cucumbers on this trellis this year just to see how they do.
Why are you alternating them like that?
Because I feel like it.
Little Teo is helping. Teo is helping. Are you helping, Teo? Are you a helper?
Here, why don't you come down where you can reach? Down here.
I have 8 seeds in my hand.
All right, can you put them in the holes?
I can reach the bottom ones.
Okay, do
There
that.
you go. That's good boy. You put it in the hole.
I want one too.
Oh, he likes
Another
this.
one
Yeah, even the 2-year-old enjoys helping. You can put a seed in a hole. Can't quite reach.
Short arm problems. There you go.
So now we're doing pickling cucumbers, which we will make pickles out of.
Here, get some out.
Which we have a pickling recipe video that I will put in the cards right here. Best pickles I have ever eaten. I can never go back to store-bought pickles because they taste so good. And now we're doing another row of onions, because why not? What do you have, Teo?
A potato.
Oh, it's a potato? Hey, are you a little sweet potato?
Yes.
Yes, you are a little sweet potato.
No, he's little.
Yeah,
That's why he gets away with so much.
yeah. Our little sweet potato. With his little potato, or potato as he says.
Tail and potato wine.
Yeah, he picked off all the roots and now he's sticking it in.
Tail.
So helpful. So helpful. Where did you get all your seeds? Just at the garden store?
Yep.
I know they're having a seed shortage supply. Well, at least online.
Online, yes.
Online, people are having a hard
Person,
time getting them,
it's
but if
about
you,
normal.
yeah. So just
Hold out your hands.
practice your social distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands, disinfect your stuff.
Now put 1 pea in each hole.
Now we're doing peas.
Well,
Oats, peas, beans, and barley grow. Oats, peas, beans, and barley grow. You nor I nor anyone knows how oats, peas, beans, and barley grow. Actually, we do, but you know,
they knew a lot less when they made up that song.
that's true. All they knew was when they planted things, they grew, but they didn't know how it worked. This is definitely good homeschooling as well. Learning where our food comes from. Learning how to grow our own food. Okay, now he's putting them in the same ones she did.
Yeah, no.
It can always be a bit of a challenge having your 2-year-old help, quote unquote. It's not like we don't have any time on our hands right now, so might as well take the extra time to do it with your toddlers. You finally gonna come join us, Alex? Why don't you come put a few seeds in, then you can go in.
Alex, you want to come plant some seeds?
You can earn your show. This can be your homeschool today.
Oh, Daddy, can you get me some seeds?
So even with a little bribery, we can get the more reluctant child to do it too. They are
Put a couple right there.
earning screen time by working in the garden.
Thank you.
All right, now we're doing acorn squash
And zucchinis.
and zucchinis. Our rows of squash. So these are making a bigger hole.
Yeah.
I'm making my own. I'm planting my own seeds.
So 1 squash seed per hole. So more potatoes. Are these the purple potatoes? More sun golds? Or not sun golds.
They're a different kind.
More Yukon golds.
These are chieftain.
Haven't heard of that kind.
They're a red potato, I believe.
Red potatoes.
Red potatoes. Red
So you tend to put the potatoes out towards the edge.
potatoes. Red
These
potatoes.
ones, that's what I'm doing.
Sophie's excited.
Space.
I'm excited for the red potatoes. The red potatoes.
In the hole.
This is a little more toddler speed here.
Toddler
Wait.
dexterity.
That's right.
My hole's gonna be this one.
Put your potato in there, Teo.
I
I did it! Good job, buddy!
Here.
Now it's Sophie's turn.
Drop it in.
Good job.
Mommy's done.
Little mister, I did it!
All right. That's all for these guys.
Potatoes have seen many a people through droughts and all of that.
Yeah, you know how in the 18th and 19th century, England took like 90% of what Ireland produced? The Irish survived on the other 10%, potatoes.
Yeah.
The
So,
English took all the beef, all the good stuff.
long story short,
Potatoes.
you can survive on potatoes. They give you a lot of essential nutrients. They are very easy to grow, hard to kill, and it's a lot of, what was it that you were saying about that?
Calories per square foot.
Calories per square foot, right, of garden space.
Right.
And unfortunately, potatoes have gotten a lot of bad rap the last few years, but they're actually quite good for you.
Well, French fries get a bad rap.
Yes, well that's because they have stripped them of all of their nutrients and then deep fried them within an inch of their life. But potatoes in and of themselves are actually a very healthy root vegetable, especially when you eat them with the skins on. And especially when you get multicolored potatoes and not just peeled russet potatoes. We do basically
Everything except.
every color of the rainbow with potatoes. We basically do red, white, and blue potatoes.
Because we're just that patriotic. All right.
That's how we show our patriotism, is by planting red, white, and blue potatoes. Now we're doing our purple potatoes, which are my favorite. I'll put in the pictures from Easter of what they look like when we find them 2 generations later. They're really interesting looking. And they're probably really good for you too, because they have such deep color to them. Colorful in your diet is good. Alright, now we are doing carrots, like we did before. So we're just sprinkling them on the edge of this one here.
Put them in there like this.
These ones are rainbow carrots, so they'll be pretty when they come up, when we pull them up.
Since we're planting the vegetables, I'm getting hungry and I want to eat some vegetables like carrots.
Does this make you want to eat vegetables?
Yes, sirree.
Now that right there is another benefit of having your kids involved in growing their own food. They get excited about eating vegetables because they have a sense of ownership about it.
One in each hole.
One in each hole?
Yep.
One in each hole? Got it. I got it.
But now our beds over in this section are planted. We have other stuff we're planting in other parts of the yard, but that will be today's video. Now we just have to water it. As you can see, we have a drip irrigation system. Maybe we should make a video on how you do the drip irrigation system at some point. But it makes watering, it's a lot of work up front and a little bit of expense up front, but then once you have it, you can use it year after year after year. And you just turn on your hose at the house and it waters everything all at once. It's so easy. So it's a little extra cost, a little extra work up front, but then it makes everything almost automated. So as you can see, we have a spigot out here. Water line has been run out to this spot, but you can also just water with your hose, with a normal garden hose. Initially we water every other day, and then it just depends also on the sun and the temperature and all that. So basically, just notice how moist the soil is. That should be your gauge. If it rains, then that's great. Then you don't have to even water it yourself.
So the stuff you have to do to make plants grow, so you first have to use water and sunlight.
That's right. That's what plants need to grow.
Yes.
And soil.
Yes.
Yeah. So just according to the temperature and how dry it is, sometimes rain is enough to keep it moist, but if you need to water, just water however often you need to keep the soil moist. Sometimes that's every couple days. Sometimes that's twice a day if it's in the heat of summer. So hope that is helpful for you guys. Do you want to close out our video for us, Sophie?
That is how you plant a garden. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.
All right, we'll see you guys next time in our next garden video. Bye! You say bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.